Please listen to the Sloth podcast. Desktop section. Article by Sloth the Leader. Diary in a Japanese company. To understand everything that can happen in a Japanese company, you can refer to this brief diary. There are many funny and sad things at the same time. Part 1. The Japanese World. Strange experiences follow each other from when you first graduate to when you are experienced. How shocked a Vietnamese person was when starting in the most different working environment in the world. The first interview. So nervous. The last interview after passing several rounds. Everything took place in a 5-star hotel, not a company office. Sitting looking at the long row of solemn judges in front of me. I felt so small. There were many judges but only one asked. The rest did not show any emotions, occasionally smiling lightly or taking notes. Later I learned that everything was scored. From sitting posture, answering, eye contact, to whether or not I could fold my chair neatly when I stood up to leave. A week later the company reported that I had passed. I was so happy. This was not a normal job. Becoming a car designer for Honda R&D Southeast Asia. It was so fierce. Very few people could do this. Excellent. The first Japanese company in the first days. Working away from home. The company car picked me up at the hotel at 6:38 every day. Not 40 or 35. The Japanese concept of time is calculated by the minute. It was a highly confidential office. Only 10 people were allowed to enter the main workplace. The last 4 designers went to the remaining large, private area, the design room. In the morning, at exactly 10 o'clock, no matter how busy you were, you had to stand up. That was the 10-minute tea break. In the afternoon, at 3 o'clock, you had to drink tea again. Sometimes there are Japanese sweets with beautiful packaging but the quality is a bit poor. The next day I found out that the company does not allow cell phones during working hours. And the same goes for the internet. The boss said, you have to tell your friends and family not to call or text you while you are working. Okay, fine. People are far from home. The way of working here is really scientific. Everyone has to stick their sketches on the wall after finishing so that everyone can learn from each other. Everything is more manual than you can imagine. Honda's car design office but only pencils, crayons and clay. There are no dizzying 3D models or robot arms waving around. The hands of the artists are getting cramps. The following week the company cleaned the air conditioners. The noble designers spent half a day covering all the models with tarps and covering all the drawings on the wall with paper. Oh, why are there so many sketches? Then another hour to take it apart. Put it back together neatly. The first overtime. 2 handsome guys from the south, who were always on the bus, dragged each other to the company car to take them home. Innocent as fairies day after day. That day there was an important matter. The boss needed to fly the next morning to the main office to present the designs for the Vietnamese market. Had to stay to prepare the drawings. Files. At about 8 p.m., the door to the office suddenly opened. My heart skipped a beat, thinking that the Yamaha gangsters were coming to beat me up. A delegation arrived. The general director, the regional representative, this deputy and that deputy. Nearly 10 people stood straight in front of me. The boss directly introduced each of them solemnly and then softly said, "This is the first time you two have stayed overtime to help the company. The company is very grateful for your kindness. You are so noble." 2-3. Bow. The whole delegation bowed, not having time to return the bow. From then on, I did overtime every day, except for weekends, and only got back to the hotel at 9 p.m. After eating, bathing, and going to bed at 10 p.m. I was exhausted. Oh, if only I had bowed a few times to pay my respects. The first differences. The company was a bit of pig feed, and I couldn't even use the internet. I told my boss about this. I'm still young. I don't know much. I want to see the world and learn. The boss said, you are a Honda designer. You have to use your experience and skills. The world has to learn from you and you have to shape the trend. You don't have to learn from anyone. No internet. Oh my gosh. Am I that terrible? Another time, my boss asked me this and that in a friendly way. I felt like I had opened my heart. And I complained for a while. Working is so tiring. So boring. So sad. So homesick. The boss had no sympathy. You work for Honda. You have to live in Honda's world. You have to find happiness when your products are welcomed by Vietnamese people. Blah blah. A long time and I didn't understand anything. 10 years later, I accidentally read a cultural document and learned that my boss was trying to convey about Ikigai. I wanted to cry. I missed my harsh boss. Even the things that happened later. The old boss said, after you don't work for Honda anymore, you will realize how much of an advantage you have over others having been here. At that time, my immature mind thought to myself, oh my gosh, the Japanese are so boastful. There are things that take time to understand.